Good evening. It's almost 8 o'clock in Izmir, Turkey, p.m., 7:57. So I don't know what time it is in your where you are, because there are all these time changes from summer hours back to winter hours. In Turkey, we fixed it according to Saudi Arabia timeline for years. It has benefits, but also it has problems, because benefit is days are longer. So like instead it's getting at dark at in the winter at 7, 6, then it would get dark at 5 o'clock p.m. So that's a benefit, that the stores can be kept open until late hours when people come back from work. But it's a problem in the morning. All the kids and everyone have to wake up into the dark and go to schools in the dark. So maybe they should shorten the hours of work to 6 hours. That's a good idea. So, okay. I know this video title is not very appealing, because it's talking, long-term energy, this and that, 23, 20, 30 years, 7 years after, what will happen, things like that. But there are important issues. I think this is good in investing as well, because you may be investing in renewable energy or into fossil energy. So you want to know what's going to happen to your investment. Also, I have news for the copper people, which is not recorded in the let's say reports of the International Energy Association, but I follow some of the mining industry meetings, and in one of them they claim the copper that exists on Earth right now is not sufficient to turn all vehicles into electric cars. Even everybody accepts to go to electric cars. The total copper available in the world today is not enough. But imagine all the copper wiring is required at homes as well. Plus, let's say everybody has the electric cars. You come home and you attach it to your plug. The distribution transmission system is about 1/3 of what's required. So the all cities' electricity will be down. Today, the manager or the head of it had a meeting in the Bloomberg TV, and he mentioned that the wind systems are so ahead of production. They are ahead like 3 years, but the distribution and transmission are not ready. So they are just produced and waiting, just sitting there. And you call that a planning, huh? Why did you produce them if you cannot set them up for 3 years? This is silly, but these things happen in reality. So I read a few things from their report. I'm not showing you what the report is, but you can always go to their section, World Energy Institute, okay? So World Energy Outlook 2023. They have a report. It's called IEA, the International Energy Agency. Their website is www.iea.org, okay, organization, okay, IEA organization. So the head of it is Mr. Fatih Birol. He's a Turkish citizen. He's fluent in English, maybe better than I am. I've been following him because, but the report says by 2030, a peak for each of the fossil fuels will be reached. So the peak will be in 2030. So up until they made their drawings up until 2050, and almost the natural gas and oil are continuing until 2050 without any drop currently. Only coal production is dropping from 100% to 60%, almost halfway by 2050. That's a long way after. Also, there are important news besides the report that okay, I will just check that section for you. uh, and without worrying about the 2 kilometers, no, 2 million kilometers of wiring for transmission and setup net, according to NZE. What is the acronym NZE for? New Zealand? No, it's not. It's net zero emission. So if you really want net zero emission, no carbon at all, we need 2 million kilometers. A kilometer is like two kilometers is roughly, or 1.5 kilometers is roughly a mile if you are American or British. So it's around the world is 40,000 kilometers. Okay, 40,000, 40,000. We need 2 million kilometers every year. So it has to circulate around the world many times. Okay, that much cabling and transmission lines or power stations are required. So this looks, forget about the investment. Do we have as much mineral in the world to do this? And looks like China is the heading all this production. They are the most ready nation, that looks like. And they completed most of their, let's say, installations towards this goal. And right now, out of every 25 cars, electric cars sold, according to what I hear, I'm not an energy specialist, out of 25 cars sold today, one of them is electric. But by 2030, not too long later, 7 years later, every one car out of 5 will be electric. I don't know about the nitrogen success, or will it be coming in to take place of electric. But I personally, I'm hesitant to get electric car because I heard about electric cars long time ago. I had my own website about clean energy and the clean world, and I used to issue new technologies which help the clean world, in basically from soluble plastics to everything, whether what makes the world air polluted, like cattle are known to be more pollutant than, according to them, the methane given out during meat production at the feedlots in total in the world are worse than all houses, factories, cars, ships, trains, everything combined. They have less problem than the meat we are eating. Okay, the meat is causing bigger problem than air pollution in terms of methane released to the air. So you learn about these funny facts, and that's why they are trying to produce artificial meat in the labs right now. So in the future, if you're caught eating real meat, I don't know, they may jail you for 10 years. We'll see what happens after 2050. So they are trying to find solutions for this. So, of course, not just air quality. The seas are getting all with microplastics due to plastic bag usage. So it's getting very polluted everywhere. So, well, the solution to the pollution is, of course, it's a human pollution. So I approached in my channel, I said, if you want to dry the swamp, what do you do for insects? You have to dry the swamp. You cannot fight the insects one by one, just by putting aerosols in anything. So the main thing now in the world required is reducing the population. When humans landed on the moon, Louis Armstrong and his friend, they landed on the moon, and the poor third guy had to circle around the moon. And once they returned to Earth, they said, "Oh, such an unlucky guy you are. You went all the way there, and your friends went and they walked on the moon. You just couldn't." He said, "No, I'm more lucky because I saw the dark side of the moon, backside of the moon, which nobody saw." So in the world, there were only 2.5, 3 billion people at the time, 3 billion. So I saw what 3 billion cannot see. So this was 1969, 68. Okay. Now, about 69, 70, 50 years later, let's say, okay, 52 years later, we are 8.82 billion humans, from 3 to 8.2 billion. So how are you going to reduce pollution? Because every child born into existence will have to wear something, eat packaged goods, wash the dishes, drive a car, take a train ride, take a plane flight. So, but none of the organizations which are, let's say, environmental, ever even wanted to talk about this. They wanted population to increase, but they didn't want to dry the swamp. Okay, so I gave up on it. I said they are not serious. So because if you are not fighting the swamps, you are just a show off. You're nothing. It's a show off. So similarly, for the energy transition to renewables, I think the biggest burden or the hurdle is the governments right now. Almost Turkey's 1/3 of taxes come from gas stations. Gas stations are like tax offices of the government. So they can charge huge amount of tax. Like if a gas is sold for 50 TL, 45, 50 TL, the total gas worth is less than 10 TL. The rest is all taxes. And just like tobacco and alcohol, there are few items that are how do I say? People are cannot. It's their habit. They cannot live without it. So government are taxing them through using of these items, high taxing, not like regular taxing. Maybe you don't know, but if you're drinking cola drinks in Turkey, like Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, they have additional cola tax, which you don't have it on soft drinks. Like if you're drinking, Sprite, Fanta, or, other gazos, things like that, gaseous, like mete gaseous, okay? They are not taxed. But if there's cola in it, okay, you are paying additional taxes. So it's called cola tax. So anything that's really wanted by people, government tax them highly. So my biggest question was, what will governments do if everybody can get their cars into electric, or let's say convert their internal combustion cars into electric cars, and they just okay, you can tax the electric. You can't, because they will use same electricity at home to light the house, and they can even produce just putting a couple of panels on their roof. Even today it's available, but today it's available very limited. Once if this thing that really disperse, it will be a major problem for developing country governments. They need tax, and how are they going to collect this tax? It cannot be collected from electric cars. Reason being, it's a one-time tax you can get from them, or annual taxes you can get, but you cannot get as huge as like fill up the tank, and just give me 50%. So people will find all ways of charging their cars, in different, with solar energy, this energy. So they will probably hang people like you are eating both meat, plus you are a smuggler of electricity smuggler, So it's going to go there, because it's a matter of life or death for governments, because they cannot collect tax, That's their major source. They collect more than revenue tax just from this item. So these are the points I was always struggling. So today I sent a tweet to Mr. Fatih Birol. I just want to see how they are tackling this big problem of taxes, or are they able to, or governments, they will all look like, I ran big corporations, very big corporations. So there were two items you cannot argue on, like security. If you say, why do we need so many guards? Are you against security? I mean, this, fire ladders and fire alarm systems are costing me, arm and a leg. are you against security? And similar, second item was training. Okay, and training. So if you say training, but most trainings were not training, they were like, take them out for a trip to the seaside hotels, and for a few hours, keep them busy in the meeting room, and then let them go out and swim and enjoy. It's like a gift to the management group. Okay, so that's how it works out. So, but they are called training. Okay, like we have in Turkey camps that used to belong to military, banks, everyone almost had a summer camp, and so these summer camps are not called like summer vacation camps. They are called training camps. Okay, so training is important. Security is important. So now environment is important. So you cannot say, hey man, what I'm going to do when you, hey dude, what I'm going to do if you don't give me the taxes, what I'm going to live with, I'm going to pay the social security taxes, man. So what will they say? Oh yes, of course, my man, we support you sincerely. Delayed. Okay, so that's the real situation. Few years ago, people discovered that they can make diesel gas from burned oil from the French fry cooking in the restaurant. So they collected from car shops. They collected the burnt black oils that were taken from the car after 10,000 kilometers and renewed. So they collected these and they used this in production of diesel. In fact, one time olive oil was so cheap, like 5 TL per kilo, the farmers used in their tractors directly olive oil, without putting diesel because it wasn't taxed. So what happened is people started producing diesel machinery where they can produce from these oils diesel from plant oils, this and that. So I told people, government won't let you do that. It's getting too big to fail. Okay, like too big to fail companies. So they started the job, and then of course it wasn't taxed, so people started using them. So it kept increasing. So suddenly a ban came. We'll hang you. No, they didn't say we'll hang you. They said no more production. We are going to tax the diesel produced from this plant-based diesel. So they will never accept, rivalry. Similarly, I've been opposing the bitcoins, crypto coins, and other whatever coins, NFTs. Governments will only allow it if they think it's a benefit to them. So they're going to draw lots of money from the people around. But once it comes to competing, people kill each other. That's what wars are for. When Ottomans conquered the Africa, Europe, they did just one thing: don't change your religion. You can go ahead like this. Keep talking your own language. Keep talking Yugoslavian, whatever. I don't care about your language. Pay me taxes. Pay me taxes. So many gold, so many gold. That's good enough. So it was all about money. So now you are thinking governments will willingly come and say, oh, yes, you can print your money, no problem. You can use your own money. It's no competition for me. They won't. They are doing it right now because they think they are benefiting from it. So there is no way they want competition. Ask for example, Turkey today. Why don't you just apply euros already without entering the eurozone? Or just apply US dollars, because no, they won't, because they cannot print it. If you can't print it, you can't inflate it. Inflation is what people love. That's the big problem in Europe. They have to come together. They said, okay, I want to inflate. How much Italy is going to get? How much France? How much Belgium? So they need to share the inflation. That's a benefit. Once you print your money out of an economic disaster, you cause inflation, and inflation is a tax of government. It's not something that happens by itself. You create inflation willingly if you are government. That's how I created my investment strategy. I said, I will not imitate common people. I will imitate governments. What do governments do? They take loans, although they have a printing machine, money printing machine. If you have a money printing machine, why would you need to take loans from people? Sell bonds at 5%. Just keep printing, man. Why are you collecting? Huh? Why are you collecting taxes? Just keep printing. If I were you, I would just ask one thing. I want no taxes, nothing, but just give me one thing, not my freedom. No, no. Just give me the right to inflate the money, okay, as much as I like. So you guys won't pay any taxes. That's possible. So I don't want to get back the money by loan. I already have a printing machine, So, but they can't because inflation will, uh, explode, let's say that way. So otherwise, there is no point if you have a printer at home, you're printing money. Why would you borrow money with 8%, 5% tax? That's the funny side of capitalism, Why you need one agency, which is the Fed, the other agency is the Treasury, let the Treasury print as much as they can, And now it's a game, like Treasury is saying, okay, I'll give you some bonds, Now you give me some money in return. They are both government, okay? So and then the newspaper man asked Fed man, Director Powell in the last briefing of the interest rates, or there was some other meeting. They said, "Are you warning the government that they are, producing so much debt?" He said, "No, no, it's not defined in my job description. My job description is just control the money, and just also the labor. Labor shouldn't fall too much, and money, I must keep the money valuable." Well, you can't keep the money valuable if they don't spend like this, like hell. They are spending $1 trillion every 45 days now. That's not in my job description. That's not in his job description. So today is the 30th. 2 days later, we will have another Fed meetings. I call it the Birds Association of the World meeting. Why? Well, they are either hawkish or dovish. So we are talking all birds. How the bird is behaving, basically. So I entered from the energy. I showed you the big problems, and my disbeliefs need to be answered. How are governments sincerely going to? They are not taking steps against population control. They are just doing the opposite. Japan is paying more, so the people work harder at night. And all Germany is, but on the other side, people who are not paid anything, they are working hard. I mean, there is something wrong in this. Okay, so they are trying to inflate population as well. Okay, then how do you get a cleaner world? That's nonsense. That's a BS. Okay, see you all. I hope you all good night.